My younger brother's math grades are awful, so my mom asked me to give his math teacher a gift in hopes that he might tutor him. Not only did my mom prepare the gift, but she also dressed me up for the occasion. She picked a short puff sleeve dress with a huge bow tied at the chest. Oh my god, I was carrying the gift, only to find out that my brother's math teacher was my ex-boyfriend. Mom, you really want me to wear this to give my brother's teacher a gift? I stared helplessly at the red puff sleeve dress, my brows furrowing. The big bow at the chest made me look like a giant gift. It matched my red gift box perfectly. But all I got in response was the bang of the door slamming shut. My mom couldn't bear the shame, so she pressured me to go deliver the gift to my brother's math teacher. Since my brother was struggling with math, she hoped to bribe the teacher for extra help. Sigh, looking at the money in my hand, I figured I might as well do this embarrassing task. Excuse me, is this Mr. Wade? I knocked on the door with the gift in hand, following the address my mom gave me. When the door opened, I hurriedly handed over the red gift box with both hands and said, "I'm Mike's sister. This gift is for you, Mr. Wade." Only after saying that did I dare to look up at him. And when I saw his face, I froze, shocked. Wade, my ex-boyfriend, was now my brother's math teacher. If I had known that the person I was meeting today would be him, I would have never agreed to this. He pushed his gold-rimmed glasses up, glanced at me from head to toe, and chuckled. "Is the gift for me, or are you the gift?" "I don't accept gifts," he added before I could respond. "Bribery is illegal. Both the giver and the receiver are guilty." I stood there, not knowing how to react. This was beyond embarrassing. "I didn't come to give a gift," I stammered, clearly caught in this awkward situation. "Then why are you here?" Wade asked, his calm demeanor making me feel more uncomfortable. His gold-rimmed glasses and suave voice, which had once soothed me to sleep, now made me realize how little I really knew him. We had been together for 5 years, but after breaking up a year ago, it had all ended because of the typical long-distance relationship insecurities. I always wanted his attention 24/7 while he was busy with his research. In a fit of anger, I ended things and blocked him everywhere. He didn't try to win me back. That was the end of it, and I never heard from him again. "Don't listen to Mom. Don't give Mr. Wade a gift," my brother interrupted my thoughts, out of breath. "I'll handle my own grades," he added, frowning at me. Sending gifts was my mom's idea, and I had only gone along with it. "I'm not here to give a gift," I repeated, but Wade's words left me unable to admit it. "What are you here for then?" my brother asked, raising an eyebrow. For a moment, I thought he might understand, but then he dropped the bomb. "Are you trying to get with Mr. Wade? Are you into him now?" "Don't be ridiculous," I muttered under my breath, but I couldn't help but laugh at his innocence. I had been Mr. Wade's girlfriend for 5 years, and yet, here my brother was acting like it was impossible. We all doubted that someone as charming as Wade would ever like someone as ordinary as me. In the crowd, I would disappear unnoticed. When Wade didn't accept the gift, I had no choice but to leave with my brother in defeat. It was his fault I was embarrassed. Back home, I threw the gift box onto the table. "Mom, the teacher didn't accept it, and he said accepting gifts is illegal." That's when I realized I could be in trouble now. "Are you serious? Teachers don't accept gifts, but it's just a violation, not a crime," my brother scoffed. I smacked him on the head in frustration. "This is your fault. If your grades weren't so bad, Mom wouldn't have had to bribe your teacher." "I'm not as good as you were," my brother muttered. He seemed to think he could do just as well, but how could he compare? I had Wade's genius tutoring me, and that's how I went from the bottom of the class to top tier. But that was all in the past. I was no longer with Wade, and I could never ask him to tutor my brother again. Seeing my mom's plan fall apart, she dragged my dad off for a vacation, leaving me to deal with the mess. Monday came, and my brother got in trouble at school. I had to go to the school and deal with it. At least Wade was just my brother's math teacher, and I was only meeting the homeroom teacher. It wasn't a big deal, right? But when I walked into the office, I looked up and froze. There he was again, Wade's handsome face, making me feel like a complete fool. "Mike's sister, we meet again," he said with a smirk, his gaze lingering on me for a moment. The last time I saw him, I was all dolled up for a gift-giving disaster. But today, I had just rolled out of bed, barely awake, wearing a random outfit. "Yeah, haha," I forced a laugh. The other teachers in the room immediately picked up on the tension, and I could feel their curious eyes on us. "Mr. Wade, is Mike's homeroom teacher here? I came to see him," I quickly asked, my throat dry. I had no idea what my brother had done. "That's me," Wade replied, his tone indifferent. Then he dropped another bombshell. "Mike is dating." "What?" I gasped, unable to believe it. "Is the girl pretty? How's her grade? Is she nice?" I couldn't help but be intrigued, remembering my own first love. But Wade's cold stare made me realize how serious he was. He tapped the table, reprimanding me. "He's failing in dating. As a parent, you should guide him properly." Was he being serious? Hadn't he dated too? "Mr. Wade, I think love isn't a problem at this age. My brother's grades are already bad, so it shouldn't affect him." I defended my brother, trying to dismiss his disapproving look. "Plus, isn't it better if the top student is dating the worst? They can help each other improve." Wade shot me a glare and replied coldly, "It's not that simple. The girl he's dating is in the top of the class." "Well, that's even better," I said, not backing down. "They can help each other out." Wade's eyes hardened. "But he's affecting others." I quickly changed the topic. "Well, Mr. Wade, you dated back in the day and it didn't affect your grades, did it? Love didn't stop you from succeeding." It was my way of hitting back at him. Wade's cool demeanor always bothered me, especially since I felt like I loved him more. Even after we broke up, he remained unbothered, winning research awards. But why had he chosen to return to his hometown as a teacher? I thought our paths would diverge forever after we broke up. As I spoke, the other teachers in the room had clearly overheard everything. I blushed, realizing I'd made a fool of myself. "Sorry, I was just guessing," I stammered, trying to cover up my mistake. "Mr. Wade, you shouldn't use me as an example. Maybe other students wouldn't handle dating as well as you did." But I couldn't help but wonder. Had he chosen to teach because he didn't care about the past? Wade had always been too perfect for me. And now, it seemed like he still held all the power. They're in their senior year and breaking up will still affect them. Wade's expression darkened slightly, but he continued to explain calmly. "I've already spoken to them, but we still need parental cooperation for guidance." His serious demeanor made me back down instantly. Okay, I will cooperate." I reminded myself to control my emotions. I couldn't let Wade affect me anymore. Also, Mike has an exam agreement that needs an electronic signature from a parent. It must be submitted today. Otherwise, he might not be able to participate in the upcoming school-wide exam. Wade adjusted his glasses as he told me. My parents were too old to handle electronic devices. So, the responsibility of signing the document fell on me. They were out enjoying themselves, so I quickly told Wade, "Teacher, please send it to me, and I'll sign it right away." "I can't send it," Wade replied, not even glancing at me. I furrowed my brows, starting to think that Wade was deliberately making things difficult for me. But then he added, "You've blocked me." Damn. I had completely forgotten about that. Now, Wade and I had officially crossed boundaries. I could feel the eyes of the other teachers in the office, all of them curiously watching us. My heart sank with embarrassment. But to end this awkward meeting quickly, I hurriedly unblocked Wade. I wanted to add him back. To my surprise, he hadn't deleted me. We were still friends. Just as I was about to send him a message, he sent me Mike's agreement form. How timely. Done. I signed it quickly without looking up and turned to leave. Dealing with Wade was always difficult. He had a way of making me feel completely powerless. "Hey sis, what are you doing here?" I ran into my rebellious younger brother as soon as I stepped out. "Are you really going to say that? It's all your fault. You should have learned from others not to fall in love so young." I grabbed his ear and scolded him. "I didn't learn from anyone." He defended himself innocently. "You were in a relationship when you were young, and nothing happened. Don't bring up past glory. Mom said your first love was really handsome and smart. She fully supported it, but you couldn't hold on to him and ended up being dumped and went back home." He didn't hold back in pointing out my shortcomings. She was the one who dumped me. And there was Wade standing right behind us holding a math book. He adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses and of course heard every word. He even corrected me. Yes, I was the one who broke up with him. But he had no idea if I didn't need to interact with Wade for this essential matter, I would have never unblocked him. He walked past us and headed for the classroom. My brother, still confused, asked, "What did Mr. Wade just say?" "Nothing." The bell's about to ring. Go to class and don't get me called in again, I said, quickly shooing him away and hurrying off. Mike wasn't wrong. Wade was tall, handsome, smart, and wealthy. It was my fault. I didn't hold on to him. And yes, when I returned home, it was because I couldn't make it in North City alone after breaking up with him. But even with all that, life wasn't terrible, just ordinary. I quietly accepted that I was just an average person, living an average life, nothing wrong with that. Later that evening, I clicked into Wade's social media. As usual, I scrolled down to the bottom. He didn't lock his posts but rarely posted. His most recent post was from a week ago. He had checked in at Ping City and said he was back. A bunch of people had commented, greeting him and sending invites. Someone asked, "Are you back to visit or to settle down?" His reply, "Back to get married." That reply exploded. Everyone started asking who his bride was. But no one mentioned my name. The news of my solo return to Ping City and our breakup had clearly spread. Damn it. He was getting married. I shouldn't be surprised. With his looks, he had never been short of attention. Even though he had a girlfriend, there were still tons of women throwing themselves at him. That was one of the reasons I felt so insecure. When I saw those women, I was always on guard. But Wade acted like they weren't a threat, and they didn't bother him. Wade was wrong. It wasn't that those women didn't see me as a rival. They were tall, thin, fair-skinned, and knew how to dress and talk. They were locals from North City. I was just a simple girl from Ping City, unworthy of even being compared. After reading Wade's post, I realized how self-absorbed I had been. Back then, when he joked about the gift or you, I had been moved. But now, I understood that he had probably just been laughing at me. I was about to turn off my phone when my best friend Tina called. "Sweetheart, remember to dress beautifully for my wedding. I'll introduce you to a handsome groomsman." Tina and her husband were both my high school classmates. They were incredibly lucky, deciding to get married right after graduation. They had even planned their wedding for months. Since I had been sick recently, I couldn't be her bridesmaid. But Tina was thoughtful and still thought of me. "Then I guess I'll be the second most beautiful woman there after you." I chuckled, feeling my mood lighten at the thought of my friend's arrangement. Now that Wade was getting married, I didn't want to be alone anymore. Her wedding was this Saturday. I dressed carefully, checked myself in the mirror, and felt good about how I looked. Simple but beautiful. At the wedding banquet, "My Lily looks so beautiful today." Tina's eyes went wide when she saw me. "You're the most beautiful one today." I sincerely complimented my good friend. After handing over my red envelope, I took my seat. Nearly all of our high school classmates had been invited. There were 2 or 3 tables. And of course, Wade was seated next to me. The name tags on the chairs made it impossible to avoid. I had no choice but to sit down. "Minli, why are you standing there like a fool? Come sit." My old deskmate Wanda Wu called me over. "Coming." I coughed, took a deep breath, and sat down next to him. His classmate next to him was talking to him about recent events. "I heard you're teaching at Ping City No. 1 High. How does it feel to come back to your alma mater?" "I heard Chloe Chang is also there." "It's fine," Wade replied, sounding uninterested. 8,000 a month in Ping City is already pretty good. It doesn't compare to North City, but it's enough. Teaching's easy and the pay's good," his classmate continued. Chloe Chang, who was sitting at our table, immediately rebutted. "Easy?" Wade handled a case of early romance this week and encountered a very unreasonable parent. I heard it in the first-year department. Unreasonable parent. Me. I nervously picked up my water glass to drink. Was I hearing things? Wade seemed to chuckle and didn't disagree with Chloe Chang. "By the way, I heard you're getting married. Is it because your family is urging you?" After talking about work and salary, the conversation shifted to relationships and marriage. I too was curious. After a year of breaking up, Wade had already found someone to marry. But when we were together for so many years, he never once mentioned any plans after graduation. At this thought, I became quieter, slowly sipping my water. "She's from Ping City," Wade casually replied, lightly tapping the table. "Do we know her?" His classmate pressed on. I froze mid-drink. "She's from Ping City too?" Ping City was so small, and everyone in our age group crossed paths eventually. Wade's fiancée might even be someone I knew. "Do we know her?" The question hung in the air and I froze. "She's from Ping City too?" Given how small Ping City was, the circles of people my age were bound to overlap. Wade's fiancé could very well be someone I knew. As I processed his words, several faces of girls flashed through my mind. They were confident, poised, kind-hearted, with perfect figures and extraordinary beauty. Every single one of them was more suited to Wade than I ever was. Even if we know her, what's the big deal? He's getting married. You're just invited to the wedding, and you'll give a gift. No need to gossip like a busybody. Lana Wu, the classmate sitting next to me, glared at the one asking about Wade's fiancé, cutting the awkward conversation short with a joke. I secretly gave her a thumbs up for stepping in. Then Tina and her husband came over to toast. She was dressed in her wedding gown, energetically walking over to my side, winking at me. Lily, you're the second most beautiful woman here today after me. I smiled, my mood lifting as my friend's words brought me comfort. Stop flattering me. I knew she was just being sweet, but who didn't like to hear such nice things? My smile practically reached my ears. At the same time, my eyes followed her gesture toward the handsome groomsman standing next to the groom. He looked pretty good. Tall, with a sharp nose, big eyes, and a smile with two adorable dimples. He was the sunny, handsome type of guy. He was the complete opposite of Wade, who had always been distant and cold, like ice compared to this fiery warmth. I couldn't help but nod in approval and whispered to Tina, I'm interested, can you give him my WeChat? When it comes to love, I figured the guy should make the first move. Look at what happened with Wade back then. I took the initiative to chase him, but in the end, I couldn't warm his heart. Tina and I were talking quietly, and Shannon Liu overheard a bit. She immediately patted my shoulder and asked, What are you two whispering about? Just a groomsman who took a liking to Lily and asked for her contact info. I'm just making sure she agrees to it. Tina cleverly twisted the story. I silently gave her a thumbs up for her creativity. I then nodded and pretended to be a little troubled. But if I say no, won't it be rude? He seemed so earnest and enthusiastic. In situations like this, saving face is everything. Just give it to him, looks like he's a little puppy. Shannon Liu smirked, pushing me forward. You should make a move now. You'll be eating at his wedding banquet next. The room burst into laughter at her words. It was as if I had returned to a few years ago, sitting in class with everyone. The only difference was, back then, Wade and I were the subjects of teasing. But now, Wade was sitting quietly in his seat, not saying a word. From the corner of my eye, I noticed his gaze through his gold-rimmed glasses was a bit cold. His fingers, which had been tapping the table, paused before coming to a stop. After all these years together, I could still tell that these little movements of Wade's were hinting at the fact that he wasn't happy at all. It's not like you're the only one who can get married. If I wanted a boyfriend, I could easily fill half of Ping City River with them. Don't think that just because I haven't been in a relationship for a year and a half, I'm still waiting for you. The bride and groom were the busiest people at the wedding. They only stayed at our table for a few minutes before rushing off to another table to toast. But for once, I had won against Wade, and it completely lifted my gloomy mood. Looking at the table full of delicious food, my appetite grew. As the banquet neared its end, my old classmates were still talking about another round, but I waved my hand to refuse. I'm too full. I need to go home and take some digestion pills. I held my stomach and firmly turned them down. In reality, I didn't want to stay around Wade anymore. Once the wedding proceedings were over, I was out of there. But to my surprise, when Wade heard me, he suddenly pulled a pack of digestive pills out of his pocket. It was the same brand of stomach medicine I always used. Before I could react, he even poured me a glass of water and placed it in front of me, holding out 2 pills in his palm. Such meticulous care made everyone at the table fall silent, and even I couldn't understand what he was trying to do. His actions were so familiar, as if he was still the lover I had cherished. But we had been broken up for over a year. Could it be that after being together for so long, those habits became impossible to change? This ... is too ridiculous. Wade already has a woman he's ready to marry. Eat it. Wade saw me frozen and pushed the pills closer to me. His expression seemed to say that, if I didn't take them, he would shove them in my mouth. I felt uncomfortable after overeating, and many times, it would make him uncomfortable too. Because I would act out, asking for this and that. I used my discomfort as an excuse to vent on him. So, when we were together, he always carried these digestive pills on him, just in case I ate too much and needed help to digest. I quietly took the pills and the water, silently swallowing them down. I really wasn't feeling well, and there was no need to force myself to wait until I got home. But after taking these pills, I couldn't use it as an excuse to avoid the next round of the gathering. Just as I was feeling upset, Wade added, "I'm not going either." He used the word also, which made me misunderstand his intentions. Was he not going because of me? I shook my head, telling myself not to overthink it. "Quick! The bride is about to throw the bouquet." Suddenly, someone from the neighboring table shouted, drawing everyone's attention. Many people rushed over to fight for the bouquet. Shannon Liu tugged at me and I followed her. Just as I arrived, Tina threw the bouquet right into my hands. "Congratulations! How amazing! Looks like good things are coming your way." The compliments rang in my ears, but in my heart, I silently sighed. I didn't even have a boyfriend. How could good things be coming my way? I could only laugh along with everyone on this joyous occasion. I glanced at the groomsman that Tina had introduced earlier. He was still laughing with everyone, and suddenly I felt uninterested. If it had been Wade, he would have found this whole thing boring. With that thought, I couldn't help but glance over, trying to find him in the crowd. As long as Wade was within my sight, I couldn't stop myself from sneaking glances at him. But this time he caught me. I had merely looked back at him for a moment, but it ended up with our gazes locking, and I was caught. As I imagined, he was standing outside the crowd, arms crossed, quietly observing everything. His expression was indifferent, completely detached. But then, a very cute girl suddenly appeared beside him. I wanted to look away, but I couldn't control myself. The girl had curly hair, falling over her shoulders, with red lips, round cheeks, and eyes that were deep and glistening, just like Wade's. They looked so much alike, as if they were meant to be. In my heart, I silently made an assessment, and when I saw them chatting and laughing nonstop, my heart felt like it was frozen by the cold wind. I had no choice but to lower my head and pretend to look at the bouquet. The truth was, I had deep feelings for Wade. A year and a half wasn't enough to heal me. I had been waiting for him to come back to Ping City, waiting for months. This noisy wedding scene made me feel extremely lonely. I didn't want to stay and suffer anymore. So, I grabbed the bouquet and left, planning to go home. But as I stepped outside, I saw Wade walking out with the girl. "Nora, I'll walk you home," Wade called to me. "No need," I replied, refusing without turning around. Why did he have to make me the third wheel? Why did he have to be so happy in front of me? I refused with my back to him. He was standing next to another woman. Couldn't he at least be considerate when talking to me? Was I the only one bothered by my ex-boyfriend being so close to another woman? "It's late, you're not safe." Wade stepped forward, grabbing my hand and pulling me toward his car. I couldn't help but shake him off, pointing at him in anger. "Wade, don't touch me. Aren't you getting married soon? You're holding my hand in front of her. What's wrong with you?" This time I had no reservations. I let out everything I had kept inside, unleashing all the frustration I had been holding onto since our breakup. "When we were together, the thing I hated the most was your junior in your research group. I fought with you over that so many times, but you just ignored me, saying I was too sensitive. I thought after we broke up, you would change. But you're still so clueless, holding your ex-girlfriend's hand and wanting to walk me home. Wade, you've really changed." As I spoke, tears started to fall uncontrollably. They say what the former planted, the latter enjoys. But unfortunately, my 5 years with Wade didn't affect him at all. It didn't even make him change one bit for me. So, before Wade married that cute girl, I decided to play the bad guy and tell him that what he was doing was wrong. But after I said all that, Wade did something even worse. He grabbed me into his arms with one swift motion, then raised his slender finger to me and said, "Stop crying. It's all my fault. I was wrong, I've changed, it's all my fault." This was his usual apology routine. As long as he whispered softly and hugged me, kissing me, I would calm down and forgive him. But we had broken up. It had been a year and a half. Why was he doing this? I was completely confused. After a long while, I finally regained my senses, and with my brows furrowed tightly, I asked in disbelief, "You came back to Ping City to marry me?" "Yes," Wade answered without hesitation. "There's no one else but you. After a year and a half of breaking up, now you come back and tell me you want to marry me?" I couldn't understand. Does Wade have some serious illness? Or after all this time, Did he realize that I'm the easiest to deceive? So he came back. It's strange. I clearly still have feelings for him, but when he said he liked me too, I started to feel scared. Because Wade had drained all my trust and sense of security. It seemed like he heard my outright rejection, and Wade's sister quickly ran over to play the role of mediator. Sis-in-law, you misunderstood my brother. The research project he was involved in was selected as a national-level key confidential project. For confidentiality reasons, he stayed in the research institute for a year and a half. During this time, everything about him was strictly monitored. Though he could use his phone to contact people, you had already blocked him. Due to confidentiality regulations, he couldn't tell anyone what he was doing, so he had to finish the project ahead of time and come to you. He also asked us to help inform you, but the government didn't allow us to disclose too much, so we couldn't notify you. This cute girl rambled on, explaining why Wade hadn't contacted me during the past year and a half. It sounded a bit far-fetched, but with Wade's capabilities, it wasn't entirely impossible. Looking at Wade, who was no longer hiding his gaze, I started to feel like I needed to escape. I turned to both of them and said, I think I should go home first. Okay, Wade replied, his voice carrying a tone that left no room for refusal. I'll drive you. His tone was commanding, not giving me a choice. Fine, I muttered, following him without much protest. But my mind was a mess. You want to graduate and get married. You strive outside, while I stay home to be a wife and raise children. That's why I came back to Pink City to teach at No. 1 high school. Whatever you want from me, it's not that I never included you in my future plans. In the car, Wade adjusted his glasses, and to my astonishment he said such shocking words. I was so stunned that I couldn't believe I had ever said something like that to Wade. But I knew his last sentence was in response to the message I had sent him when we broke up. It turned out that during the past year and a half, neither of us had forgotten. I understood the implied meaning of his words. He hadn't mentioned his plans because he had directly included himself in my plans. We're here, Wade said as I felt like a fugitive, not daring to respond. When I saw the entrance of my apartment complex, it felt like a reprieve. Thanks, I muttered. Back at home, my heart kept pounding wildly. I sat on the couch, trying to calm down. Suddenly, I heard my brother talking on the phone in his room. It sounded like he was talking about me. I immediately walked over, wanting to know what my dear brother was planning to tell Mom again. But what I overheard was him saying, Mom, Mr. Wade said my sister was asked for her WeChat by a guy today. The plan is moving ahead. I've been behaving well. You and Dad can come back in a week or two. Don't worry, I'm following Mr. Wade's arrangements. Wait. I couldn't listen anymore. I kicked the door open, snatched the phone from my brother's hand and asked loudly, The Mr. Wade you're talking about, is it Wade? Sis, what are you doing here? My brother looked at me, startled, and my mom on the other end of the line fell silent. After some intense questioning, they finally admitted the truth. It turned out that the whole gift-giving scenario had been a plan arranged by Wade. He bought my parents a 10-day trip to Yunnan and prepared 10 colorful scarves for my mom, coaxing her into cooperating to dress me up and meet Wade. Then my brother showed up and disrupted the situation, and we ended up going home. This reunion after the breakup had been carefully orchestrated by him. That day, his line "gift or you" truly unsettled my heart. I couldn't stand it anymore, so I went to my room, grabbed my phone, and angrily messaged him, Wade, I know everything. You bribed my family to go against me. What gift? What early romance? It's all fake. No, early romance was an accident, Wade responded seriously on the other end of the line. He interrupted my rant, and my anger faded immediately. What? I didn't teach him about early romance. You set the example, you taught him, Wade replied smoothly, turning the conversation into something more ambiguous. And I was your early romance. We're the perfect example. Early romance isn't always bad. We can still end up together. He may not say much, but when he wants to please, those sweet words flow effortlessly from his mouth, making me feel flustered and giddy. He seemed incredibly determined to marry me. In the past, when he didn't speak, I felt insecure. Now that he kept talking, my heart still felt uneasy. But that night, it was as though I had returned to the past, to the sweet times with Wade. We exchanged words nonstop, always talking, and my smile never faded. In the long phone call, we bickered and laughed until it was past 1 a.m. A few days later, my parents were finally coming back. During the days of not discussing our breakup, Wade and I had developed a silent understanding. We didn't talk about getting back together, but we were acting like a couple again. Despite the year and a half apart, our feelings for each other had not diminished. But today, when my brother and I went to the airport to pick up my parents, I asked Wade to drive us, but he refused. I instantly felt like I was back in the days of our breakup. He was so busy ignoring me, and I started becoming difficult and unbearable. So, does getting back together really mean repeating the same mistakes? Thinking about it made my heart feel heavy and uncomfortable. However, when I walked into the airport, someone suddenly shoved a rose into my hand. I took a few more steps, and another rose was handed to me. At that moment, the music started, and some people in coats began taking off their outerwear to reveal matching dance costumes. They blocked my way. They performed a dance in front of me, and then Wade slowly walked out from among the dancers, kneeling on one knee and presenting me with a huge diamond ring. By the time I reached the center of the airport, I was holding a bouquet of red roses. He held it up and asked, "Nora, I just want to stay at home, be a good husband, and raise children. Will you marry me?" What a typical guy. Proposing without saying anything sweet. I silently complained in my heart, but my face was already flushed. I reached out and whispered, "I do."